Welcome to another episode of Uncensored Daily Radar, where your fellow foiled friend scans the entire globe for what may or may not be artificial and nefarious activity. We go through satellite radar as well as the zippity zip zap radar, aka NEXRAD, to better understand atmospheric and environmental conditions in full context. Before we get started, there are a few things that you should know. Number one, I repeat, I am not a meteorologist, but I am a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, which obviously makes me far more qualified to analyze atmospheric conditions. Number two, videos are fairly short, but feel free to skip ahead to any section you're most interested in. And lastly, if you'd like to see these daily radar videos, please consider becoming a paid subscriber. Otherwise, this video is about to reach a paywall, and we'll pause right now. Now. Okay. All right, let's get started. Good evening. It is December 15th, about 11:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am cutting it close, guys. It is almost December 16th, but it isn't. It is December 15th. 10 days before Christmas. I got myself an early Christmas present. I was wearing this like 100% acrylic. I didn't even realize it was acrylic, which apparently isn't a good material to wear because it can up your acrylonitrile levels in your body if it's not like a clean acrylic, which unless it's certified OTEC 100, I don't even know. Did I already say this? Did I already tell you guys this yesterday? I don't think so, because I think I got this yesterday. Anyway, this I got on this Quince website for, I don't remember the price. It was very cheap. I mean, cheap for this. This is cashmere. Oh, it's so soft. Anyway, I'm very excited about it because I'm warm and toasty, and I know that I'm wearing a good material, unless the company's lying, and I do plan on finding out if their certifications are falsified, because I do not know about exports from India. India's been caught lying about organic and non-toxic time and time again. The company did share the certification number with their products, though, so anyway, that's a whole other side quest that I'm on right now. But anyway. Oh, and I also got this wool hat from Ireland. A family member brought it back from Ireland. Irish wool. Happy sheep, too. They're not harmed in the making of the hat. All right. Let's see what's been going down. And remember, every single glow you see here is a NEXRAD radar station. The official statement is that it's just simply Doppler radar helping us track weather systems and give us forecasts, things like that. The conspiracy theory is that these towers are equipped with technology to allow us to manipulate the weather in various ways. One of those ways being that it can microwave certain areas of the atmosphere to the point of creating high levels of heat, which can cause heat waves, excessive drought. Of course, you can also, by creating massive temperature swings, you can create severe winds. And also, by creating a heated area like that, you can create a high pressure zone. High pressure zones deter low pressure systems, aka storms. So if a storm is traveling, like let's say it would have normally gone like here, well, you can put a bunch of high pressure zones up here, or like a big high pressure zone here, and it would have gone up, but instead it's gonna do this. And then you could even put a high pressure zone here, and then it would be encouraged to do that. You could also surround it. Theoretically, this is all theoretical, conspiratorially theoretical. All right, so this is about where we left off. We did not do a show last night. I took last night off. Not that I left. Anytime I take a night off, it's not because I'm just relaxing. It's because something else took up so much of my time. Usually something I didn't want to do. All right. Now, we covered this because I remember seeing this. It was moving very oddly, but then we looked at the wind pattern, and that's probably why it was doing that. Looks like this is still loaded with trails. Interesting storm coming into Florida here. Iffy on if there were trails. I do think there probably were. But there's a chance that there's not. It's not super obvious like it is over here. All right, NEXRAD. It's still zippity zapping here in Southern California. Again, as I say every day, this is the only place in the country that zip zaps 24/7. without exception. However, I know when it looks abnormal, and today it looks abnormal. We've got some of that flame-like radar coming off the edge, which can either mean that the area has crazy wind, or, you know, in the past when I've seen that like that, it means that a fire might ignite over the next 24 to 72 hours, or there could already be a fire there now. And again, I'm not saying, it's just the pattern I've noticed. Also, you know, I noticed it off of the Carolinas, I noticed it off of Florida, and I've noticed it off of California every time they've lit up. This area here has been glowing nonstop in a very odd way for over a week, still going. Yes, I checked the bird map. Yes, there are some birds there, totally unrelated, because the birds are not there plenty of the time that this is glowing. You could go check the other shows. Ooh, we have some static zip-zappery going on in the center here. Not related to birds. We'll check some other things, see what the AQI might be like. In fact, you know what? Let's just see what's going on. All right, so these are all some of the major fires that we've had. Now, these look a little new. What are these? This one might not even be going. I just clicked on that one. Whoopsie. 25,000 acres. Minimal fire activity today, so that one is mostly out. Minimal activity today. Start date, yeah, okay. So it doesn't seem like these are the cause of what we're seeing. We have a lot of smoke down here. As per usual, a lot of smoke down here in Mexico. Mexico. Oh, that one. We still have that dead zone here. You know what, guys? This is the area that's been flooding, right? That's where all the crazy stuff is. This has been under a complete radar dead zone for the last, what? I mean, almost 2 weeks. This rectangle area here. It's like the sensitivity is turned down for certain altitudes. Remember we talked about that before the flooding even started over here. Some of the precipitation does show. Ooh, a ton of it is showing here, actually. So I wonder what altitude that's at. But like, see, it's going, disappearing, reappearing over here. Very odd. All right, let's zoom in. Oh, for those of you who are new, we're going to go over Nexrad, and then we're going to hop into some data and news, and then we're going to finish up on trails. Let's see what's going on real quick. Ooh, lots of trails here. Oh, wait, let's go to right now. Lots of trails over here. Lots of trails over here. Lots of trails in here. All over Canada. And lots of trails coming in here. My goodness. So many trails. We have trails coming in from northern Mexico. That's a weird thing to do, to mix the German accent with the Mexico. All right, so just to get a little, we'll dig into this more, but yeah, trails everywhere. All right. Like I said, partial dead zone. Some things get through. A lot is not getting through. I noticed the very chemtrail-filled precipitation is getting through better than the other stuff. And once again, this area here has been glowing a ton. Don't know what it is. But remember, this is the area that has been under fog. It's really the entire center of California that's had nonstop fog and subsequent awful AQIs, super air stagnation. I do wonder what that's like today, though. I did not look at the air stagnation yesterday, which will be the first time that I missed it in a while. So I'm excited to see if there's been any improvement. Like I said, that flame-like radar coming off of Southern California usually means the air. Ooh, and remember how I said that there were, so it's normal to see zip-zaps down here. But as I said, I know what it normally looks like. This is more than that. This tower normally doesn't do all this. There's only like one tower here that will normally do a bunch of stuff. But we have multiple towers doing a lot here. So there is something going on in California. And this one's been pulsing, pulsing, pulsing. See what I mean? I'm going to play it fast. Pulse, pulse, pulse. It's almost even a predictable pattern, too. This area came out of the woodwork there. Different towers not transmitting to the server. Blinking in and out. These have this abnormal glow that's a smaller version of what's going on here. See? I don't know what that means. I've seen it every once in a while. I want to know what's going on in Ohio with all the birds dropping out of the sky. 72 vultures dropped out of the sky. They said it was bird flu. They said it was bird flu without even looking at the birds. And then when the Ohio Department was pushed to come and check on the birds, they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to come and get them. They didn't want to deal with them. But eventually they did. Apparently they tested 2 birds, and they said it was bird flu. My friend Catherine, a.k.a. Mellow Cat on Substack, one who confronted the chemtrail pilot, she, hold on, before we switch. So yeah, we have that glow here, here, and here too. And yes, loads of trails mixed into this precipitation. I can very clearly tell that they're in here just by how the precipitation looks. And I believe we did see them very clearly on here. Yeah. Yeah. Lots and lots of trails. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, she called and said, how were they tested? I think she said PCR, but she's like, well, you know, those are highly unreliable, right? How did you test them? What kind of test was it? The guy's like, we don't know. We just trust the lab. Man. And now geese are dying. In fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. No. Stop going on side quests, Ariana. We're going to finish up Nexrad, then I'll show you, all right? The AQI is looking abnormal today. Oh, look at this. Interesting glows. Ooh, some powerful beams going into the Gulf. I do wonder what's in there. That was more recently, too. More recent. Maybe a couple hours ago. Let's see. All right, there was some stuff down here. Boy, oh boy, Texas. You poor, poor people. Let's hope these are truly just condensation trails. They've always been there. They always will be there, and we're all just out of our minds. Crazy. All of these are static looking. Yeah, even more so here. Interesting. Look how it's moving. See that? It's like something's moving over top of it to the right. See that? To the east. And then as it moves east, some of these towers start doing that glowy thing. See? A clue. And then it went down here, and that tower acted interesting. It's something in the air. There's something in the air that's causing the towers to look like that. You can see it moving. You know, if the birds had been there, I would have said that looks like a flock of birds. No, see, those were only there. Yeah. Unrelated. Okay. Something in the air is what's causing these to glow like that. Look, when it gets down here, it really doesn't like that. And then did I just see... thought I saw something. Look at that, this big wave pushing the precipitation out. See that? It's moving, it's moving, it's moving, and then it pushes all out to the coast. Trying to find that moment. Okay, so there's that. Where does it go after that? It goes down, and now it's on its way to Texas, right? Yeah. You see that, guys? Look at that. It starts coming in here, and then it makes these towers react. It really makes that one react. And then it moves down into Texas, and these guys start to glow. Now at around sunrise and sunset, the natural glow from these towers alters. So when they get really quiet, don't let that distract you. Just wait for these towers to start behaving differently as it flows down. Okay, so it's coming down, it's starting here. It's moving. Really reacted here. There's something here. Now the towers got a little quiet because it's daytime. But whatever's here is still here. The towers are more sensitive at night. So they're going to show more when it's dark. But the stuff is still there. And now it's on its way here. So just... see that? And this is right now. It's odd. As this is entering the area, several towers stop transmitting to the server. All right, I'm going to play it again, and I won't stop it, okay? Because I know I might be annoying you. All right, so I'm going to start here. It's right here right now, okay? Ready? It's flowing down, making that area glow. It's on its way to Texas. It's arriving. And there it is right now. Interesting. Wonder what that is. That is interesting. Now it's nighttime again, so the sensitivity here is increasing, and I can see that stuff up here again. That is something. So this is a video that Catherine, aka Mellocat, put up on her Substack. She's the one that I was talking about that called the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and asked them about the testing. Anyway, I won't play the whole thing, but I'm going to show you the background. They're talking about the 72 vultures, just so you can get an idea as to what I was talking about.
I'm concerned that there may be then you might neglect actually doing any more investigation into any other potential reason for these birds dying, like all at once, right? All in the same field. And I'm wondering if you've considered looking into there's with like 50 towers, cell towers within range. And it struck me and several others that this could actually be something related to radio frequency. Have you thought about that?
Can't say that I have.
Okay. Because the PCR test can detect all sorts of things, right? I mean, we're comprised of virus particles, right? And animals too. So it's very convenient for them to say, oh, they've tested positive for this, but is that the reason that they died? I don't think so. It's highly unlikely that all would be infected at once, dying in the same area, just like that, right?
Actually, it's not that uncommon. This isn't our first event or experience with birds dying of bird flu, high-path avian influenza.
Yeah. You want to give some more examples?
Yeah. Well, last year we had hundreds of Canada geese all over.
That example.
All over the region.
That was also questionable.
Bird flu. There's numerous, not just Ohio, with other Canada geese, raptors. With bird flu as well as black vultures. So.
Okay. And what's interesting for me is, again, that this is determined on testing, which I feel has been highly fraudulent.
And yeah, that clip she's showing here of this, look at this. Look at the way this bird is acting.
Last year we had...
Is that bird flu, guys? Do you act like that when you have the flu?
All over Western Ohio and all over the region.
Mm-hmm.
Bird flu. There's
numerous...
Oh, man.
That poor freaking bird, man. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, so that's something I'm digging into, because this is not the first time that we have seen mass die-off like this in the last 12 to 24 months, specifically over the last 12 months. Remember, guys, with toxicity and also with frequency, the first animals to go are going to be the insects. And unfortunately, studies are showing that in many areas, the bee population has declined 70 to 100%. In some areas, there are no bees left. I get people all the time messaging me about their hives, how over the last winter, the previous winter, they lost 80%, 50 to 80% of their bees. And then by the summer of 2025, this year, the rest of them died. And remember, insects are tiny. We don't want them around. So if they're not around, we don't really notice it. Birds are often in public places. They don't burrow under the ground. They don't go hide under the water. They're often in areas where people are. They go where people want to, people will feed them, whatever. And if they're dying mid-flight, we'll see it. If bugs die mid-flight, it's not as noticeable. But when frickin' 72 vultures fall out of the sky in the same area and die all in the same moment, I mean, we got to use our brains, right? How could that be the bird flu? How could that be the bird flu? How could any illness behave that way? If you're all well enough to fly, but then suddenly you're not, all at the same time? Either it was toxin exposure or some kind of frequency exposure. Remember, birds and insects are highly in tune with those things. They need it for survival. I mean, we all do. But, they use it for their migration patterns. They use it to find food. Anyway. Wicked stuff, guys. Wicked frickin' stuff. All right, let's go over severe weather warnings. All right, we probably still have those ongoing rip current warnings on the eastern coastline of Florida. Man, I grew up in South Florida and I never saw a rip current statement. I'm sure they were there, but I was always in the water. Moderate freeze warning going through Georgia and special weather statement. Oh, fire warning looks like. Winds will be generally out. Okay. Dry fuels, high fire danger. Yep. Oh, New York still probably has those lake effects, extreme lake effect snow warning. That's intense. Moderate winter weather advisory still remains. Looks like we have some gale winds along the New Hampshire. I know it's New Hampshire. And Maine coastlines. We have some Great Lakes warnings, gale warning along Michigan. What else we got going downtown? Colorado. Severe fire weather watch. So we must have some winds in here. Yep. Severe high wind watch. Colorado. All right. Northern Minnesota. Moderate wind advisory. North Dakota. Moderate wind advisory. Montana. Severe high wind warning. And severe high wind watch. Same with Idaho. Same with Washington. Wow. And then in Oregon, we have a mix of moderate wind advisory and severe wind advisory, along with the continued severe flood watches. And I believe there was a warning in here. Yeah, severe flood warning. Yipperoo. Oh boy. Gale winds along your coastline as well. In addition to hazardous seas warnings, coastal waters could reach 12 feet, 13 seconds through Tuesday afternoon. California doesn't have any warnings. Moderate wind advisory. So we're not seeing anything over here about fires, extreme winds, and yet I'm seeing on radar what is usually associated with both of those things. So we'll see tomorrow if this might be causal. If tomorrow we see severe winds or any kind of big fires igniting here, then once again, seeing this really is showing a pattern. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day, maybe even the day after. But if in the next 3 days we see extreme winds here, and we start seeing fires ignite, just another example to back up this pattern that we've been suspecting all year because we keep seeing it repeated. All right, let's see if there's anything else extreme. Oh, we still have this guy up here. This is the extreme blizzard warning still. It's going, yeah, it'll be in there till Wednesday, unless it gets reinstated. Over by Rio de Janeiro, we've got extreme accumulated rainfall. Watch out, Rio de Janeiro. You guys have had a ton of crazy stuff happen over there. I wonder, is this Saudi Arabia? Yeah. So this was extreme dense fog warning the last time I translated this. But maybe it's different now. I doubt it. Extreme snow ice warning over in Monaco, Italy, Geneva area. And then I did see by Greece an earthquake. 5.3. Remember what I was saying? In the last show? I said, this is weird. I'm seeing a lot of 5.0 and up earthquakes all of a sudden over the last 48 hours. They're popping up all over the place. Even in some areas that are not really near any fault lines. Huh. I'm looking forward to checking that earthquake map. Oh, great. Is this another fire warning here on the south? Extreme heat. Man. Oh, and they have the flame icon, which usually means in the United States, when you see this, it's a red flag warning, meaning fire potential, which with the winds and the heat, yeah. Alrighty then, we have another hurricane to watch out for besides Bakung. Probably not pronouncing that right, but I just love saying it. Bakung. This guy doesn't know where it wants to go. It's very confused. Or it's just trying to mess with humans. It's like, do. I'm going this way. Never mind. Do. Now I'm going up. Do. Or at least they're thinking it's going to go up. But it's just been like, and this is just where it was. It's been kind of just doing this own little dance over here. And then we've got over here, doesn't have a fancy name yet. It's only called 8 Tropical Depression. We ain't got nothing know-how in the Atlantic because of the dust. We've had plenty of dust over the Atlantic Ocean non-stop all year long. There have been a few exceptions when the dust kind of backs up into Africa for a little bit or dips down super low. We have had tropical cyclones forming this year. That's pretty much the only time we've seen hurricanes this year. So this guy's backing up a little bit right now. So I'll watch out. The fact that it's wintertime doesn't make me question if we can have a hurricane or not, because as we know, it doesn't really matter anymore, does it? AQI, very funky, right? I mean, it's so sporadic. There is no... All right, so the winds are going up here. Looks like it's coming from here. And then notice how the center for awful frickin' AQI has shifted north over here, despite the fact that the winds are moving south. So interesting, right? Because this is where this has been doing this for over a week straight. Yet the AQI wasn't that bad up here for the most part. But it's bad. It's real bad. Yeah, if you were over here, I'd say go somewhere else. Or if you're going to be here, run a very good air purifier in your home. Make sure your exterior air intake is shut off. But be cognizant of the fact that if you're shutting that off, when you use your dryer or turn on any kind of exhaust vents, you could be sucking up radon from your foundation or, gases from your pipes if you live in a new house, because those new houses are too tight. And if you don't live in a new house, you probably don't have an exterior air intake because the house already sucks in air from the outside. But at least that's somewhat filtered through your drywall and stuff. Oh, man. Anything over 30 I consider bad. Just FYI. I miss the good old days when you could go on the AQI little app and you see it's a 7 or an 11. And you go outside and you can just go breathing in fresh air. This is all that Saharan dust. This is just... Well, to be fair, they do have some fires going on, but this is always like this. It's manufacturing. It's their industry. Terrible regulation. All right. The AQI here is really, really bad. What was the warning over there? What was that again? Extreme rain. Hold on. Are they getting it now or are they getting rain? Looks like they've got clouds overhead. I'm not seeing any chemtrails. Brazil does get them sometimes. Like if a country here is going to have them, it's going to be Brazil, Chile, or Argentina. It is odd that they have such terrible AQI, despite the fact that it looks like they're probably getting rain. I noticed that in the US too. See, rain used to actually clean the air. Now I'm noticing it's just getting more dirty after it rains. All right, nitrogen dioxide. This stuff moves with the sunshine. But it looks like even in its best, it's not good. PM 2-point fizzles. Let's go to the middle of the day to see these. Okay. Aerosol, sulfur dioxide, surface ozone, carbon monoxide concentration. We already did that. All right. High pressure, low pressure. Just putting this down on the record. Smoke, smoke, lots of little smoky smokes. All right. So this is the earthquake map. Let's see. I cut my bangs today, guys. I'm very happy because I can brush these down and they don't go over my eyeballs. Just fabulous. Okay. So, by the way, this isn't 24 hours. This is 48 hours worth of earthquakes. 5.3 today. 5.6 today as well. Another 5.7 today. You see what I mean, guys? I just noticed there were, yeah, okay, this was 2 days ago. 5.1, 5.0. Yeah, I mean, these are on the fault lines, so it's not unusual. But I just noticed there were a lot of that level earthquakes appearing. And for those of you who are new, the United States has the best detection system for earthquakes. We can detect down to 0 mag. I have the sensitivity turned all the way down. It's so sensitive that we can even detect Corey blasts, which are displayed as a diamond. We can even detect them over in Canada. 2.2 mag explosion. Wow, that's pretty high. Oh, interesting. I guess there were no Corey blasts over the last couple of days. Oh, that makes sense. It was a weekend. But this teeny tiny little one is a 1.0 magnitude earthquake. Most countries don't go below 3.0 for their detection limits. Yeah, 0.9 mag. They use NEXRAD to track birds and insects. The idea is that the Doppler bounces off of them and the reflection is so unique that they can determine whether or not it is a bird or something else. So they show the birds on here. Now, some people think that this map is fake. I don't think it is. All right, this is another fire map, fire information for resource management system. I think it's more of a heat signature map and smoke detection. Like it can even show you backyard fires. Just getting it on record, getting it all on record. Okay. All right, we'll do a little normie report. Polar vortex blankets eastern U.S. with dangerous Arctic air as nearly 24 states feel extreme blast.
Millions are feeling, and we know that it's going to impact northern areas. You can see that here. We had the delivery drivers just trying to get the packages out, trying to get it out on time. But you can see they're wearing gloves, they're layered up just like you and I. And it's not just the north, where they could have temperatures where they're in the single digits. It feels like it's below zero, but even down in the southeast now, they're going to get wind chills that drop into the teens. This was earlier this morning time. Look at Cincinnati, -3 as their observed low temperature, but even spots throughout the southeast easily sub-freezing at this point, getting into the lower 20s. As we look at that wind chill factor, that cold air continues to push further and further south, and why you have a freeze warning in effect for the Florida-Georgia line and portions of extreme southeastern Alabama like Dothan, Alabama. The reason why is because air temperature will be in the 20s. Then you look at the wind, and it's not widespread, but you'll have isolated spots where it's 10 to 20. If those align, then you could easily have the temperatures drop into the teens or into the lower 20s for 2 nights in a row. When you look at this, how do we compare this to normal or what you would expect for middle to late December? Well, you look at this, about 10 to 20 degrees below average with those temperatures. So it's a Tuesday. If kids are still in school, not letting them just stay at the bus stop, especially if they're in shorts. You know, in the southeast, you're kind of in that rhythm. You're in that cadence of what you would expect. This is a little bit too cold for that. As you take a look at what we could expect from the mid-Atlantic all the way up into the northeast, that's where you have temperatures similar to what they're experiencing in the southeast, a little bit more of a wind event, and now you have the wind chill factor into the teens, if not into the single digits. Something that I've noticed driving around in New Jersey. Great treatment on the roads with the snow event over the weekend, which we will have for you later on. But a lot of that allowed that snow to melt. Now you have this liquid content that's on the ground, and if that solidifies overnight, well, then you have a concern about the ice threat that could play out. So pocket ice still potentially as we move into tomorrow. You do see that warm up that's starting to come back in. So
Anyone else see the star?
tomorrow morning is going to be cold for the southeast, but look at that. That looks like a great afternoon, getting into the 50s and even into the lower 60s. Here in New York City, we'll struggle to get to freezing. North of there, we'll stay sub-freezing throughout the northeast. As we move into Wednesday, notice that warmth continues to work its way up the East Coast. New York warming up well into the mid-40s. And so if you like the snow and you've seen it, there could be a sign that it could be melting sooner rather than later because of the warming trend that we will continue on.
Warmth. Saw this. Thought I wanted to show you guys. Bitter cold transforms Michigan lighthouse into ice monster. Indeed. An ice monster. Look at that thing. Pretty cool looking. Kind of beautiful, actually. Like a Chinese dragon. I think it's awesome. Oh yeah, December 19th. Rare interstellar comet. I don't know if that's, I think that's 3I Atlas to pass closest to Earth. December 19th. Scientists have been following the comet's journey since its first sighting reported in July and will be seen at its closest approach yet, about 167 miles from Earth. What? Wait, really? 167 miles from Earth? Man, that is close. That's like scary close. This Friday using ground-based telescopes. Whoa. Is that for real? Was that a typo? Scientists have just been following the comet. It was reported 227. Huh. Officials say the comet will come no closer than 170 miles from our planet and poses no threat. Well, that's great, but it says about 167 miles from Earth. They said no closer than 170, and yet here's the prediction that it will be. How trustworthy are these people? Pretty cool, also not cool. But Death Valley, if you know, it's the hottest place on Earth. Been there many. Well, have I been there? Have I been there? I've been around there. I don't know if I actually went there. I can't remember. I used to just go into the middle of nowhere sometimes. Ancient Ghost Lake reappears in Death Valley National Park after record rainfall. Look at that. Shallow Lake. Pretty interesting. So if you're close, go check it out. And yeah, Washington. Freaking Washington.
Well, let's check in with Fox Weather correspondent Robert Ray, who's joining us now from King County. Robert, you're en route to the levee breach and failure. We've been hearing some mixed messaging. What do you see right now on your drive?
Well, I can tell you, we just got out of the car. Look at this. This is the Green River here. And actually, we're going to have our camera move up there so you can get a good look at this. As far as information goes, I'm trying to figure that out myself right now. It's a very fluid scenario. And if you'll walk with me, you'll see exactly what's happening here. They've shut down this road. This is South 180th Street and West Valley Highway. We're in Aurelia, which is to the southeast of downtown Seattle, and you saw the Green River there. And you look across here at this bridge, media is beginning to descend on this area. They've got this blocked off. They're not allowing any vehicles, as you could see, to the south. I believe this is southbound here. So we're trying to figure out exactly what the situation is. And actually, let me just, what is the scenario right now? I'm live on Fox Weather, sir. We're trying to figure out. Robert Ray, good to see you. And I don't want to impede what you're doing, but we're just trying to get the proper information out. What is happening here?
Well, I've got a super important role. Traffic control, that's all I got for you.
Yeah, but that's all you know at this point.
Right now, we're just in charge of traffic control while the city's making their plans.
Okay.
Stuff. But you can call our public information officer.
Sure.
For the comment or details.
Yeah, will do. Thank you. Appreciate it. Look, it's fluid. This is the way it goes. I mean, we were trying to get from downtown Seattle, which, by the way, we started in Burlington, well to the north, went to Seattle, and then this occurred. This emergency occurred. So we're trying to get the proper information right now on the ground as well. And actually, and other, you better listen to them. And well, yeah, I mean, indeed.
All right, no information there. Basically, repairs are being made to a levee after it failed during a flash flood warning in King County, Washington, just days after historic flooding pounded the region. So, yeah, be cautious. The area is still gonna get wet. My kitty cat is snoring next to me right now. Little kitty cat snores. She's a little princess. All right. It's partially why I'm kind of speaking like quietly, because I don't want to wake up my cats. I've got 2 cats and a dog right next to me, all sound asleep. I should be asleep too, but alas, I'm breaking my health rules. All right, so we already talked about this. I'll just zoom in. Trails. These black high altitude lines are trails. Ugh, come on. Yeah, definitely a lot of trails coming in from northern Mexico, which is not something that happens very often, but we have seen it almost every day for the last, 2 weeks now? All down here too. This is where the towers are behaving a little abnormally. Lots and lots of trails. All through here too. See all these? Look at all these. I mean, they're all over Utah. New Mexico and Arizona, Nevada. Oh, there's a star. Look at that. Here, 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 here. Right? Wait, is that skipping? Okay, yeah. Lots of trails in Texas. My goodness. She's not like snoring, but I can hear her breathing like she's sleeping. Lots of trails going through Florida. And Canada. My belly is wanting more food, but it is late. I refuse to break that rule too. You know, if you eat close to bed, your body, you're supposed to not eat or see blue light. In fact, let me shut off my blue light if I didn't already on my computer. Yeah, because I turn it on to look at NextRad, and sometimes I forget to turn it back off. Oh, they're out here too in the Atlantic. But you don't want to eat or look at blue light within 3 hours of bedtime, because eating and looking at light tells your body to not go to sleep. The light tricks your body into believing that the sun is still up and that you need to produce cortisol and stay awake, not produce melatonin. When it starts to get dark and your eyes see that natural sunset, I'll be putting the mouse over trails that I'm seeing. So when you see the blue light, it's, yeah, like I said, it's telling your body that it's daytime, not a time to produce melatonin. But if you don't see it and it starts getting dark, or you're wearing amber glasses, your body says, okay, time to go to sleep. Let's make you some melatonin. But then if you eat, your body says, oh, time to be awake. We got to digest. Digest. Not time to sleep. Lots of trails in here, my goodness. So many lines, thousands and thousands and thousands of lines. And again, are all those lines chemtrails? Or is there a crazy amount of particulate put into the atmosphere that's resulting in planes leaving persistent contrails in a abnormal amount and an abnormal frequency? Could some of the trails be chemtrails that are causing heightened particulate levels, and then the other planes are flying through it, allowing that moisture to condense and attach themselves to those particulates? Forming persistent contrails? I don't know. Gotta be our own devil's advocate. Kitty cat snores are making me sleepy. There could be trails in here, but I'm not seeing any obvious. I'm trying to see if there's any proof of that, besides how it kind of looks from above. I'm not seeing anything. All right. I'm not. Yeah, trails in the Gulf too. Okay. And trails headed over to Europe as usual. We'll switch satellites for that. Okay. Southern Pacific, I'm in. I'm going to try to cover this quickly because I do have to go to sleep. It is very late. I didn't realize the show was going to be an hour, but I had so much fun talking about some things that were totally unrelated, like circadian rhythm. We have a bunch of trails over here, as you can see. So these lines, line. Trails in here. There are trails in here mixing up to whatever the heck's going on up there. But they're up here. And this is where that extreme blizzard is actually going to hit from. And you know, this whole area was loaded with trails and the entire time leading up to this storm. But I don't have the ability to see this area from a better satellite view. This is the best we've got here. So watch out, Alaska. Got a lot of trails mixed in there. Lots and lots of trails mixed in here too. And by the way, guys, this is year round. So when they're like, yeah, it's winter, duh, there's a lot of condensation trails. Like, all right, well, it looks exactly the same all year. Midsummer, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. Australia has been having some trails down here and trails here. Let's see if they're having them now. And this is where that extreme heat warning is. Looks like they've still got trails. To load. And still trails leading into New Zealand, which is what the locals are telling me too. Got some trails here over in Pakistan. Definitely lots of trails in Russia, as usual. Lots of them right here in China. See? Africa never gets any trails. But there are always areas where I'm like, is that a trail? Not always, but sometimes. Oh, now, okay. I stand corrected. They will get trails sometimes in the northern part from trails that were likely meant for Europe. So see, we got a lot of trail remnants here. And it looks like it's going to partially swirl down into Africa before it goes up into Spain and Portugal. I see trails on the outskirts over here. It's hard to see them through here, but I would bet they're there. But again, I can't. All right, well, I do see some here sitting above the cloud layer that I can see. I do see them here. If you look at something every day, you get really good at finding them. Over here. All over here. Yep. All right. Well, why don't you guys have a good night? And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thank you.